Can you tell me what your first words will be? I said, well, I've actually no idea, but I expect to be something like hello. Oh, okay, right. And then she was standing there waiting for more. I said, I've no idea what I'm going to say after hello. And then I heard in my earpiece that I had him, the producer shout, leave him alone. He's a Brit. He'll be okay when it happens. And that stuck with me forever. And funny enough, that guy, the executive producer, uh, quite innocently has followed me as my boss throughout my life because he moved to NBC soon after I got the job with NBC. So he's still around. He lives in California. He lives in Las Vegas, in oh gosh, he lives in Los Angeles, and he's a great guy. But we've gone. He was the one that introduced me to all my other sports I did on TV. But I have to say that I just sit and look at the screen. The screen tells me what to say. And when I worked with John Tesh, and we did lots of stuff like Paris-Roubaix, and we made drama movies. We won Emmys for the best script, and Don wrote all the music, etc. And but John may have known what he was going to do when he started banging on the piano to get the music right. But when we sat down to talk to the screens, I just said what I saw. For example, on Paris-Roubaix one day, I saw all of these riders in a long straight line clattering over the cobblestones and falling off. And I just simply said, these guys are riding on a roller coaster of pain. Of course, these days of social media, it zapped around. Hey, did you hear Phil Liggett today? Did you hear what he just said? And I thought, I better read this because I'm not sure what I just said, because it goes through my brain and out again. And they've got the Liggett and Sherwin is because, poor old Paul Sherwin's no longer with us, but we used to have the Phil and Paul bingo. I don't know who invented it, but he was an American. And they pulled down the bingo sheet with all our phrases on different squares, and they play bingo until they get a line up expecting us to say the phrases again. But we were not part of the scene. I didn't know what his phrases were, so I don't think anybody probably never won it.
Let's take a minute here. Does anybody? I'm sure a bunch of you have questions, but let's take one or two questions, and then we probably have to get back to our business.
Yeah, now I'll leave you in peace.
Make sure you unmute if you're going to ask a question.
Yeah, if you want to ask, I'm here. Take your chance while you can.
Take your best shot.
Nobody got a question. I can't believe it.
I can't.
When I go to give these talks, go on.
I do have a question. Yeah, what is your idea of the perfect day?
Wow, Deb, that's an incredibly good question for starters, I must say. Idea of a perfect day, when I'm working, it's when I leave the TV and I head to the hotel feeling really good inside because everything I wanted to say came out. As far as I know, I didn't get any of my facts wrong, and I hope I made people enjoy the show because these days, especially when you're doing it on mainline TV like NBC or CBS, the majority of viewers are not cyclists, and so you've got to keep them involved. So I used to say to Sharon when we got back to the hotel, boy, Paul, you got it all out. You did so well today. Let's go and have a drink because we hope that you've enjoyed it. And the other side of that is when I sometimes go to bed after a really long, hard day that may have started at 6:30 and is now 10 at night, and same again tomorrow. I go to bed thinking, well, here I am in a hotel room yet again, which I'll probably stay in about 7 months a year, a hotel by myself. And I'm feeling pretty miserable and downtrodden. And I hope everybody back home has really had a great time. But that's the downside is when you go to bed and you come off the television and you feel a little bit deflated. It doesn't happen very often, I'll be honest. So most times we go back and have a bit of a laugh in the bar with the lads. And sometimes, especially on the tour, you walk into a bunch of fans and then you've got to really feel miserable and be miserable to get out. Otherwise, you'll be there all night telling stories like now. That's probably the best of a perfect day. These days, a perfect day is just going to the supermarket and buying some groceries. Because the only trick we can do is that. Yeah. And then we're back in the house.
The great answer, Phil, except you didn't say anything about the perfect day includes a bike ride.
Yeah.
Well, it does. I don't ride so much these days, but I do still ride. And I've got the best bikes. I always say to Sharon, I've got the best bikes in the business now. I've got Canyon, S-Works, I've got a lot. I said, and I'm not racing anymore. And that really hurts. The old junk I used to race on, back in the 60s and early 70s. And now I've got the finest bikes that you can pick up with one finger, and I can't make it do the job it's built for.
Bob, you have a question.
Do up the hills a little bit easier on the canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, I'm a big fan of yours. I just wonder, you've been involved with the Tour de France for so many years. What do you think about the equipment and specifically power meters and the racers today compared to the old days when they had no radios, no power meters? Is there less excitement, you think, today?
Well, Bob, I'll tell you, for me, yes, because I'm old. For the youngsters, I'm sure that's what they know and what they love. I have absolutely nil interest on how many watts the guy's pumping out. Couldn't give it a monkey's uncle. So whenever it comes on the screen and the producer's screaming in our ears, look at the screen, look at the screen, I just look at Paul Sherwin and make him explain what 550 watts means and how good it is, etc. And the same applies to the equipment too. I mean, right through to the 80s, the Tour de France for me was a big adventure because the bike riders were rough, tough, and they were battling elimination. They limped to the finish, and they would not be in a bunch very long unless they were riding really well. And the attacks, you could go for a 200-kilometer attack, and there was a good chance it would work. Now they're a little bit metronomic now. They just can marshal everything. And to me, that's not exciting, but you've got to explain it to the viewers because at the end of the day, as I say, you've got to keep. My next door neighbor, who's sadly died now, when she was 90, she was a terrific sportswoman. She was almost a scratch golfer until she was into her 70s. And she was a great tennis player and won trophies. So she was a sports nut. And I used to bring all my old BBC sports commentators to the house just to meet her. And she would drill them like you would not believe. She was terrific. So I used her as my sort of weather vane. And I talked to her, and she used to say to me, she said, you know, Phil, I've seen you on television. I must say, you're better looking on television than in real life. And that made me feel really good. And you say, Peggy, thanks a lot. I feel really good about that. She says, well, she says, you've got that silly sport of cycling. Whenever I tell you, I have to tell you, I cannot understand it. And she says, I just see a big bunch of cyclists, and then they just sprint out for the finish. I said, well, Peggy, that's why they have a commentator, so I can explain what they're thinking about in the peloton. But she was always that way inclined. And that's what we've got to sell, of course. But we see the pelotons more often than not now. Breakaway goes within the half hour of racing. Breakaway gets caught 20K from the end, and we have a sprint.
Or
Only
1K from the end.
mountains are what we really look at. So it is different now. It's not like it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, less spontaneity, it seems like.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Phil, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you. You've been very generous with Free Bikes for Kids. You've, you narrated my grandson's imaginary Tour de France.
Oh,
So,
yes. Well, he's looking like
good.
he might be sharpening his sprint up now.
So Soren is very excited about that. We actually sent him a trophy that said Best Actor of the Year award. But
Good. Oh, that was nice. Hello. You're not texting me, are you, Terry? Well, okay.
No. But thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a real guy and, humble and generous with your time and your skills. So we appreciate that at Free Bikes for Kids, and thank you very much.
Terry, thank you very much. I'll never forget my roots, and my happiest days were when I first started to ride a bike. And for you guys, just think of the enjoyment that you will bring kids on Free Bikes for Kids, and it'll be the joy of their life forevermore. And they'll always talk about you. Bye, everyone. Enjoy your meeting. Have a good one. And
Okay.
survive the winter and COVID. And I hope to meet you all again soon.
Cheers.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Cool, thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Well, how cool was that? Yeah, there's part of me that wants to just go, can we just blow off the hour and just have him do it? But you probably wouldn't get away with that. So anyhow, we are going to move to some business. Mark Walensky, our chair of our board. I don't know how you're going to follow that, Mark, but that's your problem. But he's going to talk about the strategic blueprint for 2021 and update you all on that.
Yeah, this is where everything goes south, folks. So get ready. Mark Walensky, chairman of Free Bikes for Kids National. I just wanted to spend a few minutes explaining where we're at with 2021's plan. We've spent a lot of time putting together what we think is a good framework around 3 topics. And those topics are our affiliate expansion efforts, our affiliate support efforts, and then lastly, our national brand building, such as what we just had a taste of in terms of building our programs and partnerships into 2021. I have to tell you bluntly, the last time we did this, I think we did an inadequate job, almost to the level of poor, because we didn't do a good enough job of including the likes of the affiliates and some of the ideas and thoughts that you all might have. So this year, we're going to make a difference in having some input from all of you. I would say by tomorrow, if not the end of business today, we'll get out what is our first cut of some ideas that support these 3 different initiatives for 2021. And while it might be interesting for some of you to look at what our affiliate expansion plans are and our national brand building plans are, what I'm particularly interested in having input on is how can we support the affiliates, all of you, do a better job in terms of getting kids on bikes, et cetera. So when you get this document, if you look at nothing other than that one particular topic, look at what are the ideas that we think are important, add to that, edit that, don't be shy. I'm pretty sure that most of you will give us the unvarnished view of your thinking. That's what we're looking for. And as I said, we'd like to get your input. Time is of the essence because we're building a budget from the bottoms up based on these initiatives. And so when we get this out, we're looking for some turnaround sometime in the last part of next week. And we think that would be adequate for you to take a look at what our work is, see if you agree. And if you have ideas, we welcome those ideas. And then we're going to do our best to aggregate those in a priority that makes sense. And then we're going to push that off into action so that we can get to the job of supporting the good work that you guys are all doing. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Terry.
All right, thanks, Mark. I've been getting some texts here from some people who have to leave, and I want you to meet some people before they leave. So I want to jump ahead to this part where we're going to introduce some of our new affiliate leads. And we're going to start with Tony Finn and Karen McGibbon in San Diego because Tony has to leave. But I want you to meet them and hear a little bit about what they're doing down there and what their vision is for Free Bikes for Kids in their city. So Tony and Karen, go for it.
Thank you, Terry. That was awesome listening to Phil Liggett, by the way. And so I want to talk to you guys real quick about how we got involved with Free Bikes for Kids. So me and Bill Walton, who is a semi-famous pro basketball player. He won 2 NBA championships, 2 NCAA championships, and he's also an ESPN announcer. And by the way, I wish Phil was still on the call because Bill totally idolizes Phil Liggett because Bill's an ESPN announcer and he thinks Phil's the best. So anyway, so Bill, in March of last year, when the pandemic started, me and Bill Walton have been friends for like a decade. And when the pandemic started, I'm in the events business, so all my events canceled. And Bill Walton was in Vegas getting ready to do the Pac-12 NCAA men's basketball finals, and all his events canceled. So we just started talking on the phone, and we said, we got to do something. We can't let the pandemic just ruin our lives. What are we going to do? So he and I came up with this idea to do Bike for Humanity. So we did these bike rides. We did 3 socially distanced bike rides, and we raised over $200,000. And what we did with the money is we gave some to give us PPE. So we got PPE for frontline workers. We gave money for No Kids Hungry, and we gave it to a lot of good causes. But along the way, we got fortunate to meet Terry from Free Bikes for Kids. And when that happened, we kind of felt, wow, we have a really good a really good cause that we all really, really, really believe in strongly. And so we've already given, I forget exactly how much, but we gave money to Free Bikes for Kids, and we got help get, contribute and get a lot of bikes for you guys. And then, so now what we want to do what Bike for Humanity is about the joy of riding your bike. It's about being healthy, and then it's about doing things in the service for others. That's our goals. And so now, after what we're going to do moving forward is we're going to do Free Bikes for Kids is our main beneficiary of all the money that we raise. And we totally 100% believe in this cause. And we're also going to start Free Bikes for Kids in San Diego. And that's our goals in life. And that's thank you guys. And that's what we're about. And yeah, we're just stoked to be involved with you. And we want to help on your goal to get 1 million free bikes for kids. That's what something that we're all about. And our next ride is gonna be May 1st, I believe. Yep. So you have time to start promoting it, and we'll be reaching out to you guys so you guys could help us to promote it. And we're gonna try to, get a long way along the way to give 1 million free bikes. So that's what we're about. And thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Tony. It's going to be fun. Karen, it turns out you didn't get to talk, I guess.
That's okay.
Karen, sorry.
Tony.
Tony my partner in crime, Karen.
Yeah.
So Tony kind of roped me into helping him with the Bike for Humanity, and we've had the fortunate pleasure to work with Terry and his team, and it's just been a great pleasure learning more about what they do, and just wanting to support that endeavor going forward in the southern aspect of California. So I also work in the events industry, and my business is obviously, I work in live events, has changed considerably. So these virtual events have been a great way to kind of bring people together, and the response has been tremendous with everybody. So we're looking forward to continuing it and raising a lot of funds to get that bike in all the hands of the kids that need it. I was thinking about my first bike last night before this call, and it was a red Schwinn tricycle. And it had been passed down from 6 kids in my family, and my brothers painted it up for me on I think it was probably about my 4th or 5th birthday. And I just was flashing on that last night, thinking about your stories, Terry, of, what was your first bike? And I love that concept. And I think that's something we can really roll with. So thank you for having us on.
We're excited to have Tony and Karen and the whole Bike for Humanity, including Bill Walton. Bill Walton, we all know, is the eye candy, and you two are the brains of the organization.
Actually,
Tony's the eye candy.
Karen is the brains, you guys. She is awesome. So if ever you need to get something done with Bike for Humanity, just call Karen. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys very much. We're so stoked and excited to be part of this group, really.
So I want to thank you guys. I want to introduce Andrew Hoover and Eric Supel. Are you guys here? So just a little update. I'm part of the YCC, the Youth Cycling Coalition Board, which is an organization of all the top youth cycling organizations in the country, from USA Cycling, People for Bikes, NICA, Trips for Kids, a whole bunch of them. Eric is part of Trips for Kids in Charlotte, North Carolina. Andrew Hoover is going to be our key connection in Morgantown, West Virginia. So we're going to be launching in those 2 cities. These are all part of the pilot project for the Youth Cycling Coalition. So Andrew and Eric, I will give you guys a minute here to tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're hoping to see.
Hey, is Andrew there? No?
I'm here. You can go first.
No, you go for it, man.
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm Andrew Hoover. I'm the director of WVU's Science Behind the Sport program. And so what that is, it's a K-12 youth outreach effort that's focused on connecting principles of STEM to outdoor adventure sports. And so cycling is one of those sports. I work through our university's provost office that's now called the Brad and Elise Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative. which has taken on a rather ambitious goal. So folks, you know, it could be said that the reputation of our state often precedes us. We're often finding ourselves on the bottom of every right list and on the top of every wrong list. So in an effort to do that, our office has taken on the mission to try to reshape and redefine our state's image by leveraging our outdoor recreational assets to ignite our economy. And so one of the ways in which we're doing that is starting with one of our most sacred assets, our youth. And so through the lens of education, we're trying to engage youth and kind of get them started off on the right foot. And so through that effort, we learned about the opportunity to work with the YCC, and we're very fortunate in being chosen alongside Charlotte to serve as one of their host pilot locations. So my role there, as Terry described, is to kind of be the local lead to help you know, establish connections, build relationships with local stakeholders, and then to kind of help identify and secure any resources that are needed in order to be successful here. So what we're most excited about is kind of continuing to learn about how we can roll out a chapter here, because I think it provides a unique ability for us to reduce.
What's going to happen is you're going to be able to watch.
Someone's chiming in. To activate all those recreational assets that, you know, that we value so highly, and then just to have greater access that would have taken us decades, if ever,
Let me do it when I'm
to
ready.
establish on our end. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Eric.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, very similar to, my name's Eric. I'm the director over here at Trips for Kids Charlotte. So very similar to what Andrew was saying there, you know, our goal here is to provide transformative experiences, cycling experiences for the youth and the communities that support them. So we focus really on programming and trying to instill that that kind of feeling that Phil talked about earlier, that first time on a bike. That is really your gateway to independence, confidence, and whatnot. And you know, that's where we center in. So we completely sustain ourselves through bike donations. So every year we take in over 3,000 bikes, and we use close to 60% of those bikes in our personal programs. What gets me really excited about that is that the other 40% of it, some are recycled because they are, you know, they just aren't going to see the road again. But we have a surplus of bikes that we would love, you know, we don't quite have that capacity to distribute all of those bikes. So we would love to partner with organizations like Free Bikes for Kids to kind of get those bikes out there. You know, currently I have about 100 in my 100 bikes as of this first month of the year. Usually we distribute about 500 bikes to smaller groups, just trying to connect the bikes out. And so, you know, partnering and creating an ecosystem here in Charlotte could really benefit the impact to kids. We have the 16th largest school system in the United States, I think. Don't quote me on that. But there's a lot of kids here, and we are a staff of 8. So really, to make that impact, we need to build an ecosystem and connect. And that's where we align with the YCC. And that's why we're excited, you know, that organizations like Free Bikes for Kids are part of that, so that we can work together to make that greater impact.
Yeah.
Remember that
Thanks.
container that we saw at, was it Lowe's or Home Depot that had, you could put your cushions in?
Is everybody,
$99.
or are we
Is
just
there room out there for that?
random guy
I was
breaking
thinking
it?
behind the barbecue, but
Yeah, like it looks like a telephone
maybe
number
not.
503.
How do you,
you're not muted.
I was just going to say the one way that Free Bikes for Kids is already partnering with Trips for Kids is they have a Learn and Earn program, and we have provided bikes to the kids who are graduating from that. So we're looking for always looking for ways we can collaborate with other organizations, because what we do is get bikes, refurbish them, and give them away to kids. So if we can help other organizations who need bikes,
Yeah,
we're doing great work. That's what we want to do. Okay, we're jumping all over the place. Well, are Evan or David Boddick on the call? I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, we're sans internet here in Sacramento after that storm. We're on day 2 here. So going over cell.
Is this Evan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
Evan. So I'm sorry, we're getting behind. So Evan and David are working with us to launch in Sacramento, another California city. And if you guys can keep it to about a minute, we really have a bunch of stuff we want to get through here. Thanks.
Yeah, let's do the real quick. Right now, we're working with the Department of Public Health directly on an initiative with the Sacramento Kings through Bill Walton as well. So thanks for that connection, Terry. And our goal is to work with the Kings to do a holiday giveaway this year. We're working on timing with the Kings, but it would be a collaboration between the Sacramento Kings and Free Bikes for Kids and the California Department of Public Health. So it's a fun initiative. We're in the midst of fundraising now, and trying to get the program off the ground.
Great. Yeah, so that's going to be a fun city, and I'm hopeful that the partnership with the Sacramento Kings and the NBA and with Bill Walton, that we may be able to roll that kind of a partnership out to some of your cities with your NBA teams. It's just something that we're working on. Deb, let's jump down to talk about some of the development things. So let's see if we can do this in 2 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds great. Excuse me, and 503, I don't know if you can mute yourself, please. Thank you. So Terry and I are excited, and maybe this is also a great lead in to introducing Ginger. We're excited to talk about the Katina Foundation. They are a group who has supported Free Bikes for Kids to help launch in both Santa Fe, Albuquerque, as well as out to Phoenix. And what we're helping to do there is bring bikes to kids in the 4 corners. So what we're doing is being able to deliver bikes, about 50% of the bikes that'll be collected in the first year, and get those in the hands of kids out in the indigenous communities, both in the Hopi Reservation, as well as across the Navajo Nation. So Terry, anything else that you want to talk to around Katina?
No, I do think that what we're doing is trying to get bikes to the indigenous tribes. And I think that is something I would love to see us do nationally. Mm-hmm. Let's look for opportunities to provide bikes to those people. Tia, I know with what we're doing here in Minneapolis, like a lot of the Somali, the immigrant and refugee populations, anytime that we can help those populations, I think is great. So Deb, talk a little bit about our meeting yesterday with Outride Foundation.
Yep, so the Outride Foundation, and again, we're always looking for ways to bring value and benefit the affiliates. So the Outride Foundation, they're part of Specialized. Andy Cunningham and Sky Delano, who is the new executive director, is who we met with. Our mission really resonates with them. We've established a nice track record of, the Santa Fe Albuquerque area being the first to participate in a matching grant. And what we're also able to do is invite all of you now to consider applying for a matching grant in your particular geography. So Terry will be equipping you with a link in order to do that. And again, the personal invitation came yesterday, and we hope that you'll all take a very close look at that opportunity.
I don't know if you said, Deb, to do that, it's a $15,000 matching grant.
That's correct, for a value, yep, up to 30. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing, and they're inviting us to invite you to apply. So I think
with that, Terry, what I might ask is, could we turn it over for just a quick introduction, maybe to Ginger or Bill Lane that are participating in that?
Sure. Ginger was on the list here to talk, so yeah, go for it. So Ginger, well, until yesterday was the executive director of Free Bikes for Kids New Mexico, and then dang it all, she got a real job. So but anyhow, you probably know more about what's going on with that along with Bill. So take a minute or so, Ginger.
Of course, and I'm still here and still committed to the mission, and so I'm not going far. Just need to get health insurance. So we are so happy to be in our first year as a Free Bikes for Kids affiliate, and we're so excited to have had the assistance from the Outrider grant and the Katina Foundation, because that helped us get off the ground and have some initial funding. New Mexico has about 30% of our children that live in poverty, and obviously we have a very large percentage of the state is indigenous reservations. And so we certainly would like to partner to distribute bikes out on the reservation. We have 2 distribution partners already arranged for the Four Corners area, and they have been incredibly fabulous to collaborate with, Silver Stallion and Cycle Kids, and they'll be helping us to do that last mile distribution up on the Four Corners area. We have a couple of different sites available for a springtime collection, and I'm going out this afternoon to look at parks, and we're really enthusiastic. Santa Fe is going to be a great contributor of bikes that are in fabulous shape, but that children have outgrown. So we're really excited to get good things from the community and distribute them to where they're needed. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
And an additional shout out to Nick Ekdahl in Salt Lake City, because they provided bikes to Navajo Yes through Tom Riggenbach too. So yeah, so we're reaching from Phoenix to Santa Fe, Albuquerque to Salt Lake City. All of them are providing bikes into the indigenous tribes in that Four Corners region. So pretty cool. Let's move to, did you have anything else, Deb? I don't think.
Let's keep moving it.
All right. Hey, I want you to meet Melissa Rick. Melissa, oh, there you are, upper right corner. Melissa Rick is the newest board member at Free Bikes for Kids, and we have been recruiting her for over a year because she's freaking brilliant. And so, okay, instead of me talking about you, Melissa, tell us about yourself, and then let's go into and talk a little bit about kind of the PR and marketing that you're thinking about, and the My First Bike campaign and all that stuff. So
Sure. Hey, I'm so excited to be here. I just have to first start by saying the work that you guys are all doing is just amazing. And I want to thank you for all the commitment to the program. I've had a real passion for kids, and especially for those kids who are in need. And after working in the bicycling industry for 7 years, I saw firsthand what a bike, and a new bike, a first bike, a used bike can make in a kid's life. That sense of freedom that they get and independence. So everything Phil was talking about earlier, yes, and more of that. So from a career standpoint, just quickly, 25 years in the field of marketing. I spent 7 years with Pacific Cycle. So I led marketing and the brands of Schwinn and Mongoose. So I heard the Schwinn first bike story. I always love to hear those. And during my time with the brand, I actually became familiar with Free Bikes for Kids. And as Terry said, he's been working with me. I know the great work that the Madison chapter does. I currently live in Janesville, Wisconsin. I have 2 teenagers and I love to ride bikes. So that's about me. Now moving into what I'm doing to help the organization at both national and affiliate level. It's really, for me, it's just driving overall awareness for all the great work that you guys are doing at the local level, but then to get and fuel interest in starting new chapters so we can reach our goals that we put out there, which are pretty lofty goals. So I'm excited to see all of the different organizations that are starting to partner with us. I'm here to talk about any ideas you have, so bring those on. I think the momentum we got from the My First Bike campaign that started this fall before I was on board is great. You know, Phil Liggett having those great celebrities out there talking about their first bike experience, I think is awesome. But I'm putting a call to action out to you as local affiliates and even our partners. If you have have any great story that you're aware of from, parents of their children getting a bike or receiving a bike through any of the programs that you're implementing, we would love to hear that. I know that there can be challenges with getting the images and sign off and things like that. But I think as we evolve and move that campaign, we're really going to want to storytell around the great work we're doing and the changes and impact that we're making in kids' lives locally. So that's my perspective. That payment is right here, and really keep that as an evergreen initiative that can help drive donations, can help extend reach. And one of those ways that we've started to explore is through a national partnership. So you heard Bike for Humanity is going to be partnering with us and actually providing us with the donations that they make. So that we're looking at coming up with kind of a match strategy to entice individuals to donate, but then also look at what that Bike for Humanity program is going to bring in. And they're going to help us amplify, awareness and promotional efforts. And so just really excited about that. A more detailed plan is actually being worked on. And what we'll plan to do is do a Zoom call like this, or we can walk through it, get your input, but really looking for affiliates to kind of help us with messaging and kick off being during that May Bike Month. So more to come. I'm just excited to be a part of it and a part of all the great work you're doing and really help get the word out.
Yeah, I'll add on to that just a little bit. So with the My First Bike campaign, so May 1st is going to be the Bike for Humanity, their next event. Then we've got the Tour de France coming up this summer, which we're hoping to pull Phil in and maybe get some good press for Free Bikes for Kids, all centered around the tour. And then the Olympics, and with USA Cycling, with a growing partnership we have with USA Cycling now, we're hoping to actually piggyback with some of our My First Bike campaign stuff along with the Olympics. And we even have one of the Paralympians, Oksana Miller, has already done a video for us about her first bike. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening around that. I saw that Allison in Eugene asked, what is the deadline for the application for the outride? Deb, do you, I don't
like March 11th, I found it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep, thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Are there any other really quick questions about anything that's been said so far? I'm sorry. It started with Phil and we got behind from there.
Actually, real quick, Terry, I'm wondering if we should call out some breakout groups for some of these topics where we can follow up on marketing and, or whatever topic or these different grants. And if that's something we can coordinate on email.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yes, I love it. We should, Terry.
Yeah, Melissa, Deb, whoever, let's talk about this afterwards and we can get back to you on that. That's a perfect idea. We're trying to figure out how to do more of that kind of stuff and webinar kind of things around topics. Okay, yep. Let's go to the QuickBooks thing we were talking about. Jeff Lundgren, are you here? I am.
Not nearly as exciting and sexy as anything that's been talked about quite yet to date. So I'll make it very, very short and sweet. I sent out an email kind of as the year wrapped up last year. I know a lot of you are on a 12/31 fiscal year. Great opportunity to switch over to QuickBooks and in particular the discounted license at TechSoup. So if you haven't done so, please reach out to myself if you need any assistance with that. I've had great traction, helped in the last week, Detroit and Maryland both switch over. I know Phoenix and New Mexico are queued up for it as well. I know a lot of you are already on it, but if you're not, please let us know. Yeah, it's hopefully, and maybe ask anybody to pipe in if they've got some testimonials to share, but it really has been a great tool for us in Minnesota in particular. I've seen it firsthand, but it sounds like many of you others have had good experiences with it too. So.
Can we have Tia just share a little bit about her experience with that? Are you?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things I found with QuickBooks that it can do, if you have somebody who's managing it well, you can really break out your expenses. So you understand how you're spending. Is it on program? Is it on fundraising? You know, where your expenses are going. You can class it. All of that kind of stuff has been really helpful. You can pull reports or payroll or whatever it is. So when you're trying to figure out what your metrics are, or rather what your drivers are, and in figuring out what it's costing you really to do something, whether it's, you know, refurbishing the bikes or having an event or whatever it is, you can really put them all in the same bucket in a much easier way. I tried to do that early on with just the ugliest spreadsheet ever, and it was very problematic. And having this kind of stuff just helps. And like just even fundraising, you can see in there, okay, how much of this is being driven from an event, how much of it is being driven from individual donations, corporate sponsorships, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And it helps to think through a strategy and work through a strategy that might work. And see your trends, see what you're doing well in and what you have as opportunities.
Yeah, so we encourage you all to take advantage of that. Jeff and Mark, do you want to take a minute and talk about the new affiliate agreement?
Sure, Jeff, chime in, keep me honest here. Basically where we're at is we are had been pressure testing the agreement with the Minnesota affiliate just to make sure that we were doing right things in a way that made sense to affiliates. We've gotten that feedback back. We're going to make some adjustments to the language, and ideally we're going to get that out here by the end of next week. Again, that is a refresh from the agreement that we currently have for those who have affiliate status. Apologize for a bit of the delay of game, but I think the investment in getting a reality check, again, from a local affiliate made a lot of sense. So that's it from my end. And Jeff, do you want to add anything to that or no?
No, I think that's right. It's yeah, apologies for the delay, but I think we're getting close and look forward to rolling that out. Obviously, the new fee structure that we discussed at a QBR last time and have invoiced for is part of that. But it's just important we get this agreement locked down here and out to all of you shortly.
And everybody probably knows that the returning fee structure yearly, instead of being $1,500 a year, is now $750. And some of you, you know, Jeff, I don't know if I guess you've already talked directly with people about the funding that came back as a kickback for the My First Bike as well. So hopefully you've all seen or heard some about that.
The new affiliate agreement, Terry, sorry, it's for not just new affiliates, it's for any affiliate. It's a new agreement for affiliates.
Yeah, I guess that the way I said that was a little confusing, wasn't it? Yeah.
No. I'm just, you might have said it fine. I just kind of was caught off guard. So this is the agreement between the affiliate and the national organization.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any highlighted changes that you could point out other than I know the fee structure that Jeff just mentioned?
I would say, Bob, that it's more detailing than it is substantive. So there's nothing that I would, nothing comes to mind. Again, I'll put Jeff Lundgren on the spot here, but I don't think anything comes to mind that would scream off the page that would be substantive.
No, I think it's an evolution of the licensing agreement, effectively kind of outlining and granting the permission to use the process, the brands, et cetera, the IP. And we envision to be just something that gets dusted off. We've talked, I think both Mark and Chris in the prior QBR talked about this collaborative model that we're trying to do. So we see this as being a tool that helps us live and breathe that. So each year, in my mind, the playbook gets refreshed, gets amended to the agreement, gets re-signed, and that way the IP evolves with all of us. So that's one element we're trying to incorporate into it as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about that? All right. One other thing I wanted to talk about is many of you, like in your early years or at the beginning of your process, we had this 2-page startup guide checklist thing that said, here are 10 things that you need to do to get this program launched. Right now I'm working with Chris Larson, who is one of our board members who couldn't be here today because he's on another call. And he has a real job too. And Lauren, who is somebody that we're bringing on part-time to work on some of this stuff. And we've redone that startup guide, which I think is going to be much more beneficial because it has 4 columns in it. One is, here's the task or the benchmark that you need to accomplish. Then it was like, here are the resources that will help you accomplish that. So it might be links, it might be a page on our playbook. So it'll be very specific guides. It says, in order to do this, here's what you need to look for. And then there's going to be a gradient thing where you grade where you're at on the process, red, green, yellow, so that we know, and we can then, how can we help you with that? And then the last column is going to be questions. What questions do you have to help you accomplish that? So what we're trying to do is, and there's going to be 2 of them, one for the startup affiliates, young affiliates, and one that's more for more mature affiliates. And we think that'll be really beneficial in helping you communicate with us where you need help and help us to understand where you're at. So I think that's that. I've been jumping around so much that I don't know what I've missed or what I haven't missed here. Any questions about any of this so far? Oh, shoot, we're at 2 minutes to our deadline here. So any questions on anything that was covered today? We could have given Phil 2 more minutes. You know,
Terry, I'll just toss an idea to the group that might be helpful for various people.
Mark Waller from Portland, Oregon.
Yes, sir. When we did our second collection, we had a great partner in the Providence Health System, and they decided to deploy their video resources. So within 24 hours, we had a stunning video. So as some of you, particularly who are just getting started or getting into this, see if you've got a corporate partner or a health system or somebody who's got good video capacity. That's a great tool to use for fundraising and publicity.
And just so you know, with some of this First Bike stuff that we're doing now, we're trying to figure out, and I did do the Kid Wins Tour and the holiday greeting. I did the affiliate version mix of that, and we're hoping to do a lot more of that kind of stuff. So that's a great point, Mark. And hopefully what we're going to do as a national organization is provide you more resources like that, that you can then tag with whatever you want to tag on it.
May I ask when the next giveaway event may be that could be photographed and videoed, wherever it is in the nation?
I don't actually know the answer to that because everything is so fluid right now. I'm guessing it might, I mean, Minneapolis has some. I think Madison is doing some late winter, spring giveaways. Or is anybody doing anything before that? You know, and a lot of these giveaways now are very modified. They're small, intimate kind of giveaways, not the big events like we've done in the past. Hopefully that's changing. I'm scheduled to get my shot.
I was going to just chime in. Yeah, we are already giving away bikes. It's just they're 20, 30, 40, and it's continual, and it's one person coming in a truck and trailer to pick them up. So it's not, you know, it's not as video sexy as it used to be, probably.
You know, it isn't, but like Melissa was saying earlier, it's not that kind of eye candy wow thing. But if we can get the intimate look on a kid's face, and if you can share that with us, you know, it, like Phil said, it all comes down to the smile on a kid's face when they get a bike that they've never had. You know, that's what makes a big difference, I think. I just want you all to know, I think I sent these out a while back, but I'll send them again. Our next QBR is on April 29th. It will be at the same time. If you want to write it down, the next one is July 29th and then October 28th. Any other last questions or comments? We're 2 minutes over. Thank you all for your patience. Tom, how's it going in Chicago?
Other than cold, we are hoping to reach back out to all the people that we stopped reaching out to a year and a half ago, and get things going again, hopefully this spring and summer.
And Larry in Detroit and Ted in Baltimore. It's so good to see your faces. I just love you guys, and I can't believe how many fantastic people are on this screen, and a whole bunch who are hiding from the screen because they didn't shower this morning. I don't know. But it's so great to see you all. Thank you for what you're doing. What you're doing matters. It makes a difference. We're just, as a national board and organization, we're so proud to be partnering with you all in this stuff.
Terry, what's the latest affiliate count?
Well, we're saying it's 15. It's the affiliate count is sometimes seems as fluid as the when the giveaways are, because it's it's start stop on some of the affiliates. We have a lot of affiliates that are I think are right at the tipping point, and hopefully some of you who are on this call today will be tipped and see that this is too fun not to get involved with. So, all right. Anything else? Otherwise, I think we'll sign off, and everybody stay healthy, get your shot.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Thanks. All right.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.
Thanks, Terry.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, Terry, send a list out of everybody, will you?
I'll copy the invitation list.
There you go.
Maybe they don't want to be contacted by you, Mark.
Well, I'm not threatening. I'm just saying it'd be a useful tool, buddy.
Larry's afraid. Are you afraid to say goodbye too, Larry? Parting.
I did, but I was on mute.
Oh.
I saw your lips moving earlier. What were you saying, Larry?
There it is. I'm off mute. Nothing. Just happy to be here.
Good stuff. Great to see everybody. And Terry, we covered lots of ground today.
Well, I feel bad because we didn't get to some of the stuff, but it
Can
really
we do
was.
an extended version next time? An extended play, like an hour and a half?
Yeah, maybe.
Something to think about.
Maybe.
It all depends on how many stories Liggett has.
I
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
I asked him to tell some more bike racing stories, but with Phil Liggett, he's unscripted. It doesn't matter what you tell him to talk about. He's going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. It's like he said, whatever he sees on the screen tells the story for him. So
I thought it was phenomenal that he said, he was traveling between his houses and he had to hustle to get there to do this for you. I mean, he's very accountable. That was just so respectful and fun.
well, we were supposed to have Nielsen Paulus, the pro cyclist from the Tour de France, with us, and then his schedule got messed up. So I just 2 days ago I reached out to
That's
Phil and said,
fantastic.
hey Phil, can you do it?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
Terry,
Larry.
you're usually smarter than this, but you have an enormous opportunity there with Liggett. Two things. He's got this big game ranch in the Western Cape. So he ought to be offering up stays as auction items. And I know you can get that orchestrated. That would be very cool. And the second would be, the fastest growing affiliate gets a trip down there to his game farm.
Ah.
I like the way you're thinking. Now we just have to find.
Let's use our tools, guys. Come on now.
Well, I feel like I've harvested Phil about as much as I can.
Well, no, I mean, he's a big believer, and by the way, as people are gradually getting back to flying, he'll have excess capacity. So it's a great time to make the ask.
That's a perfect suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Deb, you get one of those a month. You just call me up. I'll give you one a month.
I love that wisdom. I'll do that.
All right.
Mark, say hi to Gail for me.
I'll sure do it, guys. All the best.
Sounds great. All the best to you in Detroit too. Yeah.
Yes. Stay safe. Get injections. Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody.
that South African variant, by the way. See you later.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you, Larry. Bye-bye.